Red Bull and the FIA seem to have finally come to an agreement over Red Bull's breach of the cost cap regulations, and here's everything that you need to know. Just to catch up those of you who may have been living under a rock for the past few weeks, both Red Bull and Aston Martin were found to be in breach of the 2021 cost cap regulations by the FIA. Since then, we've had rumours of huge overspends, championships being rescinded, and catering teams being fired, but nothing from the FIA specifically until now. The FIA have just released a statement saying they and Red Bull have come to amicable terms on an ABA, or accepted breach agreement. This states that Red Bull will receive a $7 million fine and a 10% reduction in their car development time for the budget cap breach. The breach was found to be $2.2 million, or 1.6% over the $145 million cost cap, but the FIA acknowledged that if tax credit had been correctly applied, the breach would have only been $0.5 million, or 0.37% over the cost cap. Either way, only adding up to a minor breach of the regulations for 2021. The accepted breach agreement states that there is no accusation or evidence that Red Bull Racing has sought at any time to act in bad faith, dishonesty, or in a fraudulent manner, nor has it willfully concealed any information from the cost cap administration. But there were 13 areas highlighted by the FIA, including, of course, catering, unused parts, and power units, which led to this seemingly unintentional overspend by the Red Bull team. Delving into the punishments, the $7 million fine, which has to be paid in the next month, is excluded from the cost cap moving forward, so realistically has no impact on Red Bull at all moving forward, as the team has money to burn in the background. But Red Bull will be more concerned about the reduction in wind tunnel and CFD, or computational fluid dynamics time, which they have to serve over the next 12 months. I explained the wind tunnel allowances in more detail in this video here if you want to know a little bit more about how it works for all of the teams up and down the grid. I'll link that in the description down below. The punishment for Red Bull has been agreed at a 10% reduction of the already allotted wind tunnel tests for the team. But what does that actually mean? Well, each year all of the teams are allotted a set number of wind tunnel tests. As it stands, if you're given 100% of the allotted wind tunnel runs, then you can put your car through 320 tests. But Red Bull already have a reduction in wind tunnel testing due to wrapping up the Constructors' Championship in Austin. This is part of the FIA's sliding scale that allots more development time to teams lower down in the Constructors' Championship. For Red Bull, as Constructors' Champions, they are already allotted 70% of the allowed wind tunnel tests, or 224 runs in the wind tunnel. So due to this cost cap infringement, the FIA have reduced this by a further 10%, meaning they'll only be allowed 63% of the allotted tests, or 201 tests in the wind tunnel for the 2023 season. Looking at this in comparison to their closest rivals, Ferrari are set to come second in the Constructors' Championship, meaning they'll be allotted 240 wind tunnel tests, and Mercedes in third place will be allotted 256. An additional 40 runs on your closest competitor, especially considering how close the margins have been between Red Bull and Ferrari, is definitely something to be worried about if you're the Austrian team. The thing that gets me is that if this reduction does cost Red Bull in 2023 or even 2024, and say they drop down to P2 or P3 in the championship, then that 10% reduction will very quickly be made up in the long term due to that sliding scale that the wind tunnel time is dished out using. But the FIA have said the decision of the cost cap administration to enter into this ABA constitutes its final decision resolving this matter and is not subject to an appeal. Therefore, non-compliance by Red Bull with any terms of the ABA will result in further procedural breaches for the team and automatic referral to the cost cap adjudication panel. So keep your eyes peeled for Red Bull team principal Christian Horner, who's expected to comment on the news later this weekend. But honestly, I think Red Bull will just take the fine as it's a drop in the financial ocean that the team have backing them, and the reduction in wind tunnel time is just a further challenge for Adrian Newey moving forward. Especially as the team already has the 2022 titles sewn up, and Max Verstappen even commented recently saying that the team has started work on the 2023 car already as this season comes to a close. Just whilst I have you here, Aston Martin have also come to an agreement on their cost cap breach. Remember that they also broke it too. Aston Martin were found to have incorrectly excluded and or adjusted costs for things like building their new headquarters, a new Formula One simulator, wind tunnel fees, the costs of desks and chairs, and of course the cost of catering services at their headquarters. What are these Formula One teams eating? The team must therefore pay a financial penalty of $450,000 within the next 30 days, which I think Lawrence Stroll probably just has lying around the house, maybe down the back of a sofa, so that will mean absolutely nothing to the Aston Martin team. Like, I genuinely think Aston Martin won't even notice that fine leave the account. Let me know what you think about these punishments down in the comments below. Are they too harsh, too lenient, just about right? I'd love to know what you think, and whilst you're down there, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you next time.